I'm Mark Moses from YPO Miami Fort Lauderdale Gold, and I'm pleased to call Chris Larkins my friend. I met Chris when he joined our YPO chapter 16 years ago. I loved his energy and enthusiasm, and I loved his Michael J. Fox impression, and when you see him, ask him to do it for you too. One day I asked him, "Hey Chris, I'd like to have a President of the United States come to our business event." Chris got both Bill Clinton and George W. Bush to commit to coming to the event. And what I admire the most about Chris is when he was dealt some meaningful adversity, how he took it on, head on, and found a way to thrive. It's my pleasure to introduce to you my good friend, Chris Larkins.
Alexander Hamilton and me, a YPOer in California. You might be wondering, what do these two guys have in common, right? Quite a bit, actually, but more importantly, there's one key difference. This picture of me was taken almost 9 years ago on a family vacation to Tuscany. Everything was so perfect. But what I didn't yet realize when I was posing for this picture was that 1 week later, I would be diagnosed with a malignant tumor growing inside my brain. Turns out it was glioblastoma, brain cancer. It's considered almost universally fatal. In fact, get this, my doctors actually classified my surgery as elective. Think about that for a second. I was 43, married with a young daughter. I felt like I was at the peak of my professional success, having more than doubled the size of our business in a couple years. I was out conquering the world, and I just received a death sentence. I had the surgery, followed by many months of simultaneous radiation and chemo. It drained every ounce of energy from me like it was kryptonite. And all along, I had no idea if any of it was working. So throughout that time, when my doctors kept asking my wife, Veronica, have you seen any personality changes in Chris? We started to grow concerned, like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? And so we finally decided to look it up. And every YPOer here is going to appreciate this. Trauma to the right side of your brain, where my tumor was, can cause you to become, more talkative and self-centered. So much for personality changes, right? So what does any of this have to do with Alexander Hamilton? Who here has seen the musical or listened to the soundtrack? Okay, so you remember Hamilton was Washington's chief of staff, founding father, and first Treasury Secretary of the United States. And I hadn't thought about him a lot until I found myself lying on the couch during cancer treatment. Now, truth be told, during almost a year of cancer treatment, lying on the couch was often all I had the energy to do. And upstairs was my 10-year-old daughter, Allie, and I didn't even have the strength to climb those stairs to be with her. All I could do was lie there and listen to her play the same music over and over again. Turns out it was the soundtrack to Hamilton. And as I lied there listening to that music again and again and again, I started to pay attention to the lyrics, and they really sunk in. And I ultimately realized, crap, I'm Alexander Hamilton. I mean, I had his entire personality right down to the lyric, "Why do you fight like you're running out of time?" Hamilton was persuasive, argumentative, assertive, combative, persistent, bit of a pain in the ass. And for Hamilton, these qualities drove him to extraordinary success. But as we know, they also ultimately came with a severe cost. And it caused me to reflect and wonder, at what cost had I been winning? A consistent theme in Hamilton is how his relentless pursuit of success caused him to underappreciate his own family. Throughout the musical, his lovely wife Eliza sings to him, look around, isn't this enough?" And finally, if your wife could share a fraction of your time, would that be enough? And I can imagine my wife, Veronica, saying the same words to me sometimes. And it stung hard. And I realized lying there, while I was confronting death and contemplating dying, I never once thought about the mountains I didn't climb or the cities I didn't visit or the worlds I didn't conquer. None of the stereotypical bucket list items came to mind, not a single one. The only thing I thought about was every moment I chose to spend time away from my family. You know, those extra nights tacked onto a business trip, those long nights on the couch poring over spreadsheets until late at night. Ironically, my daughter Allie was upstairs, and I didn't have the strength to climb those stairs to be with her. And months earlier, I sat on that same couch working and let her play alone. So I had to stare death in the face to realize that my bucket list was closer to home than I knew. And ultimately, the time came for me to go to the doctor and learn the results of my first post-treatment MRI. And I sat in that room and realized that I was there to learn if I was going to die. And at that scan, and for more than 30 scans just like it over the past 9 years, that tumor is gone and has never come back. And that brings me back to that one key difference between Hamilton and me. He was killed in a duel. I dodged my assassin's bullet. That allowed me to reflect and really think about it and make changes, including, in my case, a dramatic career shift that allowed me to channel my energy and intensity the right way while remaining close to that bucket list of mine at home. And today I work with leaders one-on-one to help them conquer their worlds the right way, overcome adversity, and live the lives that they want. So I'm going to leave you with this one simple question. If you could see your assassin's bullet coming at you, what changes would you make to personal, family, business? And if you can answer that question, just as Hamilton sings in the musical, what do you stall for? Thank you.